welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney. It's another round of the DIY Mystery Box Challenge. If you don't know what this is about, here's the rundown. There are a group of YouTubers that get together. We're assigned another YouTuber and we send them a random box of supplies. This month's host is Kelly from Kelly Barlow Creations. She decided that the theme of the box is going to be farmhouse. Farmhouse everything. Now let me tell you what the twist is that Kelly decided on. It is that we have to work in either burlap or twine into every single DIY. That's right, every single DIY will either have burlap or twine. There's always those two wrapped challenge items, and of course there are some specifications for each of the items in the box. Let's take a look at what those are. Here's the rundown for this month's mystery box. Items 1, 2, and 3 are sender's choice. Item 4 must be made of wood. Item 5 has to be a farm animal. Item 6 is made of galvanized metal. Item 7 is a gardening tool. Item 8 is a kitchen utensil. Item 9 is a challenge item, which is some kind of dirt. And then item 10, challenge item, is sender's choice. And again, that twist, burlap or twine, has to be in every DIY. Now that you know what the criteria was for shopping and what needs to be in the box, don't forget that you can vote. The voting link is down below in the description box, along with the playlist of all of our videos in order so that it makes sense. Voting will be open from today until Friday, July 5th. It closes at noon Central Time, and the awards will be posted on Sunday, July 7th. The awards will be added to this playlist as well as posted on my community tab on my YouTube channel, probably in the afternoon or evening on the 7th. Now, who did I send my box to? I sent it over to Shannon, the Daily DIYer, and I got my box from Kelly from Kelly Barlow Creations. So let's open this up and see what Kelly sent me. We got a card on the top. So let's see. Ooh. Cute little paper. All right, it says, one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember. Aw, Ray's favorite quote. Courtney, I hope that the contents of this farmhouse mystery box brings you some rustic farmhouse inspiration. I hope we are still friends after you see what your challenge item is. LOL, LOL, LOL. I can't wait to see the creative touch that you put on these items and what you come up with. I have no doubt that you will create something spectacular. More than that, I hope you have fun. Happy crafting, my DIY friend. Hugs, Kelly. Well, Kelly, I hope we're still friends also. Okay. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, all right, okay, it says on the sentimental side. Oh, okay. Let me see what this is. Let's see. Okay, Courtney. These flowers are flowers from Ray's service. I dried some and pressed some, not knowing what I would do with them. I figured I'd know when I know. I had this thought that I would send you some of his pressed flowers and ask you to create something for me with them. No pressure, LOL. Thank you for being the person you are, and I'm glad to know you. Thought I'd add to the challenge just a bit more for you, only because I believe in you and know you will do something special with them for me. P.S. The freeze-dried ice cream we made. What? Freeze-dried ice cream? Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. Okay, so I have a special challenge too. Oh, it's a sunflower and there's baby's breath. Okay. I'm up to the challenge and I am honored that you asked me to make you something. I would be very happy to do that. So, a little something for you. Freeze easy ice cream freeze-dried treats. What? Ice cream sandwiches. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try them right now. Okay, item number 8, the kitchen utensils. This is the item number 6, something made of galvanized metal. It's a mason jar. Item 3, sender's choice, so it's a little wooden beaded ring. Item 1, sender's choice, craft eggs. Well, you know, that is farmhousey. I mean, what's more farmhouse than a chicken? Item number 4, something made of wood. Okay, are these just blank canvases? Okay, so it's, oh, they're like shadow boxes, so the hangers are on the back. So it's 4 of these little like wooden box things. Oh no. The gardening tool. Shovel. Or it's not really a shovel, it's called a, this is called a spade. Okay, you're doing good. Sender's Choice. These look like little houses and they have letters cut out that say, oh, it says family. Item number 5, a farm animal. Ay, 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 a cow. These are cute though. So yeah, farm animal. Y'all, farmhouse is kind of out of my element. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit out of my element. All right, so we've got item 5. I got a little cow and a little oinker. Oh, the rope's stuck. A little pig, wooden. Oh, the twist. Okay, so she sent me some burlap. Oh, and I guess that's what the twine is for. Burlap and twine. So that's this. I'm not sure about this. Doesn't, because I already have a metal thing. So, well, I guess it's a second option to my galvanized metal. So there's a welcome sign. Challenge item 1, we had to send dirt. Okay, she actually sent me dirt. Go figure. She sent me dirt. It's compressed seed starter mix. Okay. Okay. So she sent me actual dirt. Okay. All right. Challenge item number 2, Sender's Choice. And it's very light and fluffy. And I don't think I'm going to like it. Are these, I don't, wait, what are these? Are they supposed to be oh no. What? They're like, they're like shoe inserts. What? Styrofoam shoe inserts. Wow. Like, is that what these are? Like, you put them in your shoes? They just... Yeah, I'm thinking... where do you even buy these? Okay. I don't really like this one, Kelly. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like this one. The rest of it's good. This one, not so much. So I'm gonna think about this for several days, maybe a week, and come back around and blow your minds with what I'm gonna make. All things farmhouse. So let's get crafty. For this DIY, I will be using the styrofoam eggs and these wooden boxes. The twist item, I'll use twine in this DIY. So when I saw this, I thought, okay, I gotta stick with the chicken theme because what's more farmhouse than chickens? I don't know anything about chickens. I don't really know anything about farms. So I thought, okay, I've got these eggs. Let's find out what the different types of chickens. I know that there's like a ton of different types of chickens and they lay different colored eggs. So I thought, let's make a fun little educational decor piece here. So I looked up some chickens trying to find the prettiest eggs. So I found the chickens for the eggs that are greenish, bluish, pinkish, and cream colored. Once I figured that out, I started painting my eggs. I just kind of rigged up this little styrofoam thing to help them dry and make it go easier, but I did 3 eggs for each of the different types of chickens. While the eggs were finishing up drying, I jumped into Cricut Design Space and I just typed up the names of the different chickens that I needed. Now this free cut file will be linked down below in the description box along with all the tools in today's video. So just check down there if you see something that you're curious about, you can find it down below. Now, once I did that and got these all weeded, I did decide to put the eggs on first before I put the names on. So I started with each little box and I glued the middle egg first, just using some hot glue. And then I glued the 2 eggs on the side, Once the eggs were down, then I went in and added the names. And now you've got yourself this really cute little decor piece. It's educational, but it's also very, very pretty. You could add some florals to this. Now, as far as the twine, you'll notice that the backs of these have twine on them, so I'm counting that for this one. It's got twine hangers, so that's where the twist comes in here. But yes, I absolutely love this piece, and here are my final thoughts as I was wrapping up this project. This makes me want to have a farm with chickens, except I don't want to be responsible for cleaning the coop or collecting the eggs, because last time I remember collecting eggs when my cousins had chickens, there was a snake in there. And that was the end of that. I grabbed the metal jar out of the box for this DIY, and for the twist, I will be using some twine. It's not going to be this piece of twine, so I did remove that and just set that aside. Then I grabbed some Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson, and I started to paint the jar. I didn't worry too much about painting the top of it because that's actually going to be covered up. So once it got all painted, I grabbed some red and white fabric that I had in my stash. It came from Hobby Lobby. And I cut a piece because I want to put this on top of the jar. I flipped the jar over, and on the back side, I put a little hot glue down and just tacked that fabric so it would hold in place. Then grabbing some twine, I tied that around the front and then did a little twine bow. And to finish off the fabric, obviously there's a ton of it right here, I grabbed my pinking shears to give this a finished look, and I trimmed off the extra fabric. For the label, I created this free printable with 4 different options. It will be linked down below in the description box. I picked the label that I wanted and trimmed it out with my paper cutter. Now, I did want to mention that I did actually put a coat of glossy Mod Podge on that red paint so that, number one, the paint wouldn't scratch off. Since I was painting it on the metal, it tends to scratch very easily. And number two, it gives it kind of more of a mason jar sheen with that glossy Mod Podge. To attach my label, I just used a glue stick. I didn't Mod Podge back over that, and then I did end up attaching my little twine bow just with some hot glue there at the top center, and then my little mason jar was ready to be displayed. I grabbed the wooden kitchen utensils for this DIY, and I will be using twine for the twist aspect. Now, this is the project that I decided to make for Kelly, her special request to make some type of project that would help honor her son, Ray. To start off, I removed the silicone ends on these utensils, and some of them were a little wonky on the end. So I grabbed my miter shears and trimmed off the ends just to make sure that they were all nice and straight. Then came the challenge of making these look a little older and not so new and bamboo-ish. So I started by taking some brown wax, I brushed it all over the utensils, and then immediately grabbed a baby wipe and wiped off the utensils. Then, to add a little extra something to them, I did go in and distress them with some Waverly white chalk paint to give them that older feel and farmhouse vibe. I did want to quickly mention that while I was working on this project, this was actually a very tough project for me to do. June is like the worst month of the year for me, only because in 2021, my mom passed away June 23rd, and her birthday was 3 days later on June 26th. So the week that this mystery box went up is literally the hardest week of the year for me. And so I struggled a little bit making this project, but it was very therapeutic to do this. So I am very glad that Kelly asked me to make this, and I am hoping that she really loves how it turns out. So as you heard, it was quite emotional making this project, but again, it was very therapeutic. So here comes the dried flowers. Y'all, dried flowers are so delicate. I do not have much experience working with dried flowers, and as I was pulling these out, you know, they were starting to break apart, and it was really like, it was kind of stressing me out. And so I thought, okay, I've got to figure out how to keep these flowers intact. So I did a bunch of reading and research, and it was recommended to use Aleene's Tacky Sealer. I found it at Walmart. And so I went and picked some up. I brought it back and I sprayed these flowers really, really good. Kind of once I pulled the pieces apart that I knew, you know, that I was going to be using, and it did seem to help tremendously. Once the flowers were sprayed, and I do recommend doing this outside, I did it inside, and my entire family was like, why does our house smell so bad? So definitely spray this outside. Do not spray it inside. I started to kind of arrange the pieces. This is going to be the middle utensil in my display that I'm making. And once I figured that out, I just used some hot glue to get these pieces attached. Then of course I need to work the twist in. So I took some twine and I wrapped it up at the top of the handle, securing it with some hot glue. And then of course, you know, you gotta have that twine bow. I did reach out to Kelly and just ask her what Ray's favorite recipes were, and she did tell me that he absolutely loved to cook. His favorite was hibachi, and teriyaki steak and house fried rice were his favorites. And then she did share some photos of me at the last time Ray had cooked a meal with her. And so I thought, okay, I found some recipes, I typed them up. I don't know if it's obviously not the exact recipes that he probably makes, but my hope is that the recipes can change out with the seasons. So she can put at Christmas time, maybe his favorite Christmas cookies or his favorite Christmas dessert, Thanksgiving, his favorite Thanksgiving meal. And so the other two utensils, I took some clothespins and I did use a permanent glue to get those glued down so that it would hold the recipe cards. And then I also, of course, added some twine to those, added my little twine bows. And then all of my pieces for this were ready to be attached to something. Now, I happened to stumble upon a clearance sale at Walmart. I shared about it on Instagram. And so I thought this would be a great piece to attach these spoons and utensils to. And so again, using permanent glue, I attached the utensils to this kind of farmhouse sign. And then this is my piece that I have created for Kelly. Kelly, I hope you will enjoy this for years to come and feel Ray's presence every time you enter the kitchen. The garden tool is going to be the star of the show, along with some twine mixed in. So after looking at this, I thought about making a wreath, and then I was like, you know what? This would make a cute sign if you have a garden, which I do not because I am a serial plant killer, but we're going to go with it. So I decided it would be fun just to put a decal on here, and I chose carrots. Just found this in Cricut Design Space and simply applied it to the shovel slash spade, whatever this thing is called. And then of course I had to work that twine in. So I wrapped the twine on the black portion of the handle and covered it up. Now I will say, if you're gonna put this outside, you might want to spray some Scotchgard or something over the twine. The vinyl, if you're using the permanent vinyl that is weatherproof and can be outside, you should be fine there. You don't really need to seal over it. But the twine, if you don't want mold and things to grow on it, I would definitely seal that up. And then you can simply put this in your garden. You could even do it for flowers if you wanted to like label your flowers. But for me, I'm going to display it here in my bed next to a weed because apparently I cannot kill weeds. The family wooden houses are going to get a makeover in this DIY. Also, we'll be using twine. So after looking at these, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them, and I started by taking my miter shears and cutting off the roof portion of the houses. Now, after I got the project finished, I kind of wished I'd left 2 of the roofs on. I'll tell you why in just a minute. Once I got those cut off, I grabbed all of the patriotic scrap of paper that I had in my stash, and I just kind of started figuring out what I wanted to use. And once I did that, I traced the houses onto the paper and cut out the pieces of scrap of paper and attached it to my wooden houses using some Mod Podge. I needed to figure out what I was going to use for a base for these, so I grabbed a paint stir stick, figured out how I needed to trim it, used my miter shears to cut it down, and then grabbed some brown wax to get that piece stained. To get my little fireworks / firecrackers attached to my stained painter stick, I took some Dollar Tree tumbling tower blocks, cut them in half with my miter shears, and hot glued those directly to the backs of these little firecrackers. Then I hot glued those down to my painter stick. Now, the reason I wanted to leave 2 of these houses with the roofs on is I thought after the fact it would have been cute to make little rockets and kind of have them shooting off the sides by kind of suspending them and making little streamers come down. So that was why I kind of had wished I'd left the roofs on 2 of those. For the twine element, I grabbed the twine that Kelly included in my box and I cut some small strips of it, hot glued it to the backs of my little fireworks, and then kind of frayed the top so it just looks like it's kind of, I don't know, firecrackering. You know what I mean. And then from there, I had my bag of stars, and I thought, you know what, I might want to add a star to one of these. So I kind of dug through my bag and found what I like. And then for 2 of the firecrackers, I did add some wooden stars just using some hot glue. The barn animals will be getting a cute but simple makeover, and they're going to get some twine. So I started by taking the cow and the pig and painting the cow white and the pig pink. From there, I went onto Cricut Design Space and found kind of a cute little saying that I could put on there, cut it out with some black vinyl, and attach those to my little farm animals. Now I had to work in the twist, which was the twine, and I don't know. I thought about making like a curlicue 3D tail in the pig, but it was looking kind of weird. So I just added a cute little bow to the cow. And then, like I said, this is very simple. The last thing I did was just add some magnets to the back, and that's it. This is finished. Now, I will say, when you put those magnets on, use a strong adhesive glue, and you'll be good to go. This project is using the beaded wreath, the metal welcome sign, and the first challenge item, dirt. And then for the twist, guess what? I'm not using twine, I'm using burlap. So I started by taking this dirt and crumpling it up. Once I did that, I didn't want to add the water because I didn't want it to be damp. I thought, you know what? I'm going to cover my welcome sign with it. So this is kind of how that went down. I don't know. I don't know. Wouldn't this make you want to come into my house? If this is what you saw in my front door? I bet it would. You'd be running like, yeah. You'd be running the other way going, that person is crazy. Basically, the more that you don't know what you're doing, the better this is gonna look. Trust the process, everyone. We're gonna trust the process, and yeah, we're trusting the process here. I'm just kind of doing whatever I want here. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah. You basically want to bury the welcome so that no one wants to come to your house ever again. Because you see this sign, they probably don't ever want to come to your house again. Okay. All right, we're gonna just trust the process here. And yeah, I'm gonna just let this be. While our dirt masterpiece is drying, I grabbed the beaded wreath form and had this really cute idea, but it didn't work. I had these wooden stars and my whole thought process was on the kind of left top quadrant of this circle to put the wooden stars, and then I was going to do red and white for the other beads, and it was going to be this whole cute little flag thing. The beads didn't fit. Don't try to drill the hole bigger. Please don't ask me how I know that, because that almost ended in a disaster. And so I just pivoted and changed my mind on what I was going to do. So then I came up with this really fancy way of painting these, because I don't know, the lazy step, what is called this, the lazy step. And I took some painter's tape, protected half the beads kind of at the end, and then I started painting with red paint. Some of the beads got full coverage, some of them got more of a distressed look, which was what I was going for. Then I did the same little process on the other side with those beads and painted those with white. So some got full coverage white, some got distressed white. I set that aside and let it dry and grabbed this wooden star that I had in my stash from Dollar Tree, painted it with some blue paint, and then immediately wiped it with a baby wipe so that it would have more of a stained look. Here is the welcome sign. So I knocked off most of the dirt because what I was trying to go for after I thought about it was like to make it look like it was rust, but it just looked like it was dirt. So then I thought, okay, you know what? I'm just going to paint over it with this galvanized tin paint that I had. I thought about doing kind of a dark orangey reddish and actually make it look like textured rust on it, which would probably work really well, but I just stuck with the silver and did the whole thing, and it actually in person looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. Once the welcome sign was painted, I needed to rethread my beads, so I pulled all of the beads off my wreath and then did them red, white, red, white, red, white, all the way till that was done. And then I secured my star to the top. Now before I did that, I did kind of play around with the idea of maybe putting polka dots on my star. Didn't really like how that looked, so that just became the back of the wreath. And I tied it up there on the top of the wreath with some twine. To finish it off, I did make a burlap bow because I needed to work that twist in, and then just attach the welcome sign to the wreath using some hot glue. And now we're on to those styrofoam feet form, whatever they are. All I could see was some type of shoe. I thought about trying to turn them into cowboy boot bookends, but what I came up with, I'm so happy with this. So I grabbed this little house sign that I had in my stash. It was originally from Target. It was $3 in the Target dollar spot. And I started by taking these little styrofoam boot thingies and I cut off the tips of them. So like the pointy toe part. Once I got those cut down and trimmed, I grabbed some clay. This is just Model Magic air dry clay. I rolled it out and I covered part of this styrofoam foot. Once I did that, I grabbed some red paint and I painted the part of the styrofoam that wasn't covered with clay. For the house, I grabbed some pretty pastel colored paints and I started painting a rainbow. So some of these colors kind of shared, so I did use a little bit of painter's tape for a couple of the stripes, and then I went in and just used a piece of paper to kind of help me paint the other stripes. And you might know where this is going now, because the next step was to start adding red sequins to my red ruby slippers. That's right, this whole thing is a playoff of the Wizard of Oz. You've got the house, you've got the rainbow, and we're gonna have the slippers. So I just started attaching the sequins to my little foot down there. Now I did paint that clay a nude color before I started adding the sequins. I forgot to film that part, but I did kind of paint it more of a skin tone color. And then I just started adding the sequins again with using some hot glue to get those secured. Now these slippers were a little top heavy because of the clay, and I needed to kind of distribute the weight a little bit. So on the back side here, I did take some tumbling tower blocks. This is just going to help these hold up better, give it a little more weight on the bottom, and I just secured those in with some hot glue. So here are the slippers all wrapped in the sequins. I did try to reference the original pair of slippers, and there was a bow with a little rhinestone on the front. So I took some sparkly red ribbon and kind of just manipulated it and just made it into its own little bow, and then grabbed one of these little red jewels and stuck that to the center. And so each shoe got a nice little bow. For the sign, I found a design in Cricut Design Space. I didn't want to get copyrighted, so I did not use any lyrics from the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but this says, "The greater the storm, the brighter your rainbow," and I cut it out on some gold metallic vinyl. It is time to get the slippers attached to the sign. So first I started by gluing my two slippers together. Then I took a tumbling tower block and glued that to the back of the slippers to make sure it was extra secure. And then to actually get this sign on my little stand, which are the red ruby slippers, I did drive some dowel rods into the feet, and I used a little bit of hot glue to make sure that they were secure in there. And then I just glued the sign directly to the dowel rods, making sure to not like have them squishing the feet. And then for the twine aspect, I did use that to help me secure the dowel rods on the back of this sign. And then it was finished. You all have to let me know what you think, because I absolutely love this. That's going to wrap up another round of the Mystery Box Challenge. Let me know down below which project was your favorite out of this video. Also, let me know what would you have done with the two challenge items, the dirt and the styrofoam foot inserts. I always love to know what you guys come up with. Don't forget to go vote. All of the information is linked down below in the description box. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!